Opening scene, the story begins aboard the alien vessel Star's Hope, drifting damaged through the void of space. Captain Vex of the peaceful Altany species stands before a flickering communication console, his blue-scaled hands trembling as he prepares to send what might be his people's final message to the galaxy. The Altany crisis, the Altani homeworld of Thera Prime, faces complete destruction. The savage Corvan Empire has launched a massive invasion fleet, their dark ships already burning 3 of Thera's moons. The Altany, a species that abandoned warfare centuries ago to focus on art, science, and philosophy, have no military to defend themselves. Their peaceful nature made them easy targets. Captain Vex explains to his crew that they have sent distress calls to every known civilization in their sector. The proud Zenthuri declined, claiming it wasn't their problem. The militant Raguk laughed at the weaklings and cut communication. The advanced Etherians simply ignored the message entirely. The last hope. With his ship's power failing and Corvan scouts closing in, Vex makes a desperate decision. His science officer, Dr. Kala, mentions an old database entry about a species called humans from a distant spiral arm. The records are sparse. They're listed as a developing civilization that only recently achieved faster-than-light travel. Despite the crew's doubts about contacting such a primitive species, Vex orders the message sent. The transmission describes their plight: millions of innocent Altany facing extinction, their beautiful cities being reduced to ash, their children crying in underground shelters as Corvan bombardment shakes their world. The message, the distress call, is raw and emotional. Vex speaks directly to the humans, explaining that they don't ask for military aid. They know humans are too young a species to have significant military power. Instead, they beg for sanctuary, asking if humanity might accept Altany refugees. They offer their advanced technology, their art, their knowledge, anything in exchange for survival. The message ends with Vex's ship losing power. The transmission cut into static as Corvan fighters appear on their sensors. Asterisk Earth's reaction. 3 days later, the message reaches Earth. The scene shifts to the United Earth Council chambers where President Martinez convenes an emergency session. The alien distress call has sent shockwaves through human leadership. This is humanity's first contact with an alien civilization, and it comes in the form of a desperate plea for help. Admiral Brooks of the Earth Defense Force reviews the tactical data. The Corvan Empire appears to be a military superpower with hundreds of warships. Logic dictates that humanity, with their small defense fleet, should stay out of this conflict. Several council members argue for a careful, diplomatic approach, perhaps offering limited refugee assistance. The human decision, however. President Martinez reminds the Council of humanity's history, from the beaches of Normandy to the aid missions. In countless disasters, humans have always answered the call when innocents were threatened. The footage from the Altany message, showing their burning cities and fleeing civilians, strikes a chord with every human who sees it. General Thompson reveals that Earth's military is far more advanced than any alien database would suggest. Humanity has spent centuries perfecting warfare, and their recent technological developments have created weapons that most peaceful species wouldn't even imagine. The Council votes unanimously. Humanity will not just offer sanctuary to refugees. They will save the Altany homeworld. Mobilization begins. The scene shows Earth's hidden military might awakening. Orbital shipyards that appeared to be simple construction platforms reveal their true nature as massive military production facilities. The civilian ships in Earth's trade fleet begin shedding their disguises, revealing weapon systems and armor. Plating. Admiral Brooks explains humanity's philosophy. Hope for peace, but prepare for war. While they appeared to other species as a young, developing civilization focused on exploration and trade, Humanity had actually been building one of the most powerful military forces in the galaxy. Ships pour out of concealed bases throughout the solar system. The massive dreadnought. Terra's Wrath emerges from behind Jupiter's moon Europa. Carrier groups that were exploring distant star systems receive recall orders and begin converging on Earth. The fleet assembles. Within 72 hours, humanity assembles the largest military fleet in their history. Over 500 warships ranging from nimble destroyers to planet crackers that could shatter worlds. Each vessel carries weapons designed from humanity's long history of conflict. Railguns that could punch through moon-sized asteroids. Missile systems that could track targets across star systems. And energy weapons that burned hotter than most suns. The final scene of Voy, Part 2, shows the human fleet preparing to jump to hyperspace. President Martinez records a message to be sent to the Corvan Empire. You picked the wrong species to mess with. Asterisk hyperspace exit. The human fleet drops out of hyperspace at the edge of the Thera system with a display of coordinated precision that shocks even their own crews. What appears before them defies their expectations. The Corvan invasion force is even larger than intelligence suggested, with over 800 ships laying siege to Thera Prime. Admiral Brooks observes the tactical situation from the bridge of the flagship Prometheus. The Corvan fleet has arranged itself in a classic siege formation, systematically bombarding the planet's surface while their fighters hunt down fleeing civilian ships. Several burning wrecks of Altany vessels drift through space, testament to the one-sided nature of this conflict. First contact with the Corvan's Corvan. High Commander Brutus notices the human fleet's arrival with amusement rather than concern. His intelligence reports describe humans as a barely spacefaring species with primitive weapons. He opens a communication channel, expecting to easily intimidate these newcomers into fleeing. The conversation between Brutus and Admiral Brooks reveals the cultural clash. Brutus boasts about Corvan conquests, describing how they have crushed dozens of civilizations and sold millions into slavery. He offers humanity a choice: leave now or be destroyed and enslaved like the Altany. Admiral Brooks responds with calm professionalism that unnerves the Corvan commander. He doesn't make threats or dramatic speeches. Instead, he simply states that humanity has come to protect the Altany and requests the immediate withdrawal of all Corvan forces, scanning the enemy. While negotiations stall, human ships conduct detailed scans of the Corvan fleet. Lieutenant Commander Park analyzes the data, discovering that Corvan technology focuses on overwhelming firepower and heavy armor, but lacks the sophisticated targeting systems and defensive countermeasures the humans have developed. Dr. Williams, the fleet's xenobiologist, studies intercepted Corvan communications and determines that their entire military doctrine is based on intimidation and brute force. They've never faced an opponent who could match their firepower or tactical sophistication. The Altany's surprise deep in Thera Prime's underground shelters. Captain Vex receives word that the humans have arrived. The surviving Altany leadership can barely believe it. Not only did this young species respond to their call, but they brought a fleet that rivals the Corvan invasion force in size. Through encrypted communications, Admiral Brooks contacts the Altany directly. His message is simple but profound. We received your call for help. Humanity has come to answer it. Keep your people safe. We'll handle the rest. The Altany are stunned by humanity's response. Their own records suggested humans were barely capable of interplanetary travel, yet here they are with a fleet that appears more advanced than anything in Altany databases. Tactical preparation. Final part of Part 3 shows both fleets preparing for battle. The Corvans begin moving into attack formation, confident that their superior numbers and experience will carry the day. Brutus orders his ships to destroy a few human vessels as an example, expecting the rest to flee. Meanwhile, Admiral Brooks coordinates with his fleet commanders. The human battle plan is elegant in its simplicity. They will use superior tactics, technology, and coordination to dismantle the Corvin fleet piece by piece. Each human ship has been assigned specific targets and roles in the coming engagement. The section ends with both fleets moving toward each other. The fate of the Altany civilization hanging in the balance. Asterisk opening engagement. The battle erupts. When Corvin heavy cruisers fire the first shots, their massive plasma cannons targeting human destroyers. The Corvins expect to see human ships explode or flee. Instead, the human vessel's advanced shielding absorbs the attacks while their point defense systems intercept incoming missiles with surgical precision. Captain Rodriguez, aboard the destroyer Lightning, demonstrates humanity's tactical superiority. His ship dances between Corvin fire, its engines and maneuvering systems far more advanced than anything the Corvins possess. The Lightning responds with railgun volleys that punch clean through Corvin armor, disabling enemy ships with precise shots to their weapon systems and engines. Shock and awe-high Commander Brutus watches in disbelief as his primitive opponents begin systematically dismantling his fleet. Human ships move with coordination that seems impossible, executing complex maneuvers while maintaining devastating, accurate fire. What he assumed would be a quick slaughter turns into a nightmare as Corvin ships begin exploding under human fire. Asterisk. The human fleet demonstrates technologies the Corvins have never encountered. Stealth destroyers appear behind enemy lines, their cloaking systems allowing them to strike at will. Human fighters launch from carrier ships, their pilots displaying skills honed by centuries of aerial warfare evolution. Overwhelming Force Admiral Brooks reveals humanity's true power. The massive dreadnought Terra's Wrath moves into position and fires its main weapon, a focused particle beam that cuts a Corvin battleship completely in half. The weapon's power output exceeds anything in Corvin experience, derived from humanity's mastery of nuclear physics and energy. Manipulation. Human missile cruisers unleash swarms of smart projectiles that track multiple targets simultaneously. Each missile carries warheads designed to exploit specific weaknesses in Corvin ship construction, information gathered from the earlier scans. Corvin point defense systems, designed to stop simple projectiles, prove useless against human smart. Weapons. Corvin desperation. As his fleet suffers catastrophic losses, Brutus makes a desperate decision. He orders his remaining ships to target Thera Prime directly, hoping to force human surrender by threatening the planet's population. Corvin bombardment ships begin charging their planet cracker weapons. The human response is swift and merciless. Admiral Brooks had anticipated this tactic. Human interdiction cruisers, positioned specifically for this contingency, activate powerful jamming fields that disrupt Corvin targeting systems. Simultaneously, human fast attack squadrons swarm the bombardment ships, destroying them before they can fire. Turning point. The tide of battle becomes a rout. Corvin ships attempt to retreat, but human vessels pursue relentlessly. Captain Johnson of the cruiser Vengeance leads a squadron that corners fleeing Corvin transports filled with captured Altany civilians. Instead of destroying the ships, human forces disable them and begin rescue operations, showcasing humanity's core values even in the heat of battle. Lieutenant Davis coordinates the rescue missions, her team boarding damaged Corvin vessels to evacuate prisoners. The rescued Altany can barely comprehend what they're witnessing. This species they'd never heard of is not only defeating their captors, but risking human lives to save alien civilians. Brutus's defeat high. Commander Brutus finds himself aboard the last functional Corvin command ship, surrounded by the burning wrecks of his once mighty fleet. His remaining officers beg him to surrender, but Corvin pride demands a final stand. He orders his ship to ram the human flagship in a suicidal attack. Admiral Brooks calmly watches the Corvin commander's desperate charge. The Prometheus doesn't even move. Instead, its defensive systems activate a gravity well generator, a piece of human technology that manipulates space-time itself. The Corvin ship finds itself trapped in an artificial gravity field, helpless as human boarding parties prepare to capture it intact. The battle ends with Brutus in human custody and his entire invasion fleet destroyed or captured. The engagement lasted less than 6 hours, during which humanity demonstrated military capabilities that exceed those of any known galactic civilization. Asterisk victory's consequences. In the immediate aftermath of the battle, Admiral Brooks coordinates massive rescue operations throughout the Ferra system. Human medical ships dock with damaged Altani vessels, their advanced medical technology saving thousands of lives. Engineers from the human fleet begin repairing critical infrastructure on Thera Prime, working alongside grateful Altani technicians. Captain Vex, rescued from his disabled ship, stands on the bridge of the Prometheus, staring at the debris field that was once the Corvin invasion fleet. He struggles to comprehend how this unknown species not only answered their desperate call, but delivered such overwhelming victory. The battle wasn't even close. Humanity had completely outclassed a military empire that had conquered dozens of worlds. The galactic response news of humanity's intervention spreads rapidly throughout the galaxy. The same civilizations that ignored the Altani's pleas for help now scramble to understand what humanity truly is. The Xanthari Empire, which had dismissed the Altani crisis as not their problem, suddenly sends diplomatic envoys to Earth requesting meetings. Ambassador Williams, newly appointed as humanity's first galactic diplomat, receives communication requests from dozens of species. The Raguk, who had laughed at the weaklings seeking help, now offer military alliances. The advanced Etherians, who had ignored the Altani entirely, request technological exchanges. Prisoners and Justice High Commander Brutus and his surviving officers face judgment not from humanity, but from the Altani themselves. In a gesture that surprises the galaxy, Admiral Brooks turns the Corvin prisoners over to Altani authorities, respecting their right to justice for the crimes committed against their people. The Altani, despite their peaceful nature, establish war crimes tribunals. However, their sentences focus on rehabilitation and reparation rather than revenge, reflecting their philosophical approach to justice. Brutus is sentenced to spend the rest of his life helping rebuild the worlds his forces destroyed. Humanity's true nature revealed. Dr. Kala, the Altani scientist who first suggested contacting humanity, works with human researchers to understand how their databases so completely underestimated human capabilities. The truth emerges. Humanity had deliberately kept their military capabilities hidden, presenting themselves as peaceful explorers while maintaining defensive readiness. President Martinez explains humanity's philosophy to the gathered alien representatives. Humans learned long ago that in a dangerous universe, the best way to preserve peace is to be prepared for war. They built their fleets not for conquest, but to protect the innocent when others would not. The new galactic order, the demonstration of human military power, fundamentally shifts galactic politics. Species that had relied on might makes right politics suddenly find themselves reconsidering their approaches. The Corvin Empire, stripped of its primary fleet, faces rebellions from dozens of enslaved worlds that humanity helps liberate. Admiral Brooks announces humanity's new galactic policy. They will serve as protectors for any peaceful species threatened by aggressive empires. The human fleet will patrol the galaxy, ensuring that what happened to the Altani never happens again to anyone else. Technological exchange. The Altani, grateful beyond measure, offer to share their advanced sciences with humanity. Dr. Williams leads the technological exchange programs, combining human military innovation with Altani peaceful technologies. The partnership promises to advance both civilizations by centuries. Other species, eager to gain human protection and technology, begin offering their own scientific knowledge. Humanity finds itself at the center of the largest technological exchange in galactic history. The final message the story concludes with Captain Vex sending a new message across the galaxy. This time, it's not a desperate plea for help, but a testament to what one species can accomplish when they choose to do what's right, rather than what's easy. His message spreads to every civilization. The Altani called for help in our darkest hour. We expected nothing. We were just one small voice crying out against the darkness. But humanity heard us. They came not for gain or glory, but because it was right. They crossed the galaxy to save people they had never met, risking everything for strangers. This is what the galaxy should be. Not every species for themselves, but all of us protecting each other. The final scene shows human ships patrolling the galaxy, their presence ensuring that no other civilization will face extinction alone. Humanity has taken its place not as conquerors, but as guardians, proving that sometimes the greatest strength comes from choosing to help rather than harm. The story ends with a new age of galactic cooperation, built on the foundation of one species' decision to answer a desperate call for help with overwhelming force, dedicated to protection rather than destruction. Asterisk.